after you collect the children's behaviors, it's not only significant behaviors. Every single behavior you collect, and then what circumstance those behaviors are displayed. So it's A, B, C, and then plus one more. So A is antecedent, right? It's right before. So those circumstances of the behavior is displayed, and then behavior itself. So behavior is a topography and magnitude, intensity. So those are frequencies, and then durations and locus. So those are the all measured. And then next one is consequence. Is adult response to the behavior. So what consequences after that behavior? So it's a before behavior, after behaviors, that's A, B, C. And then one more I add is a child reaction to the adult response. So how child react? Is a child listen to the adult, consequence, or child just reject or defiant or non-compliant or more aggressive. So those are the one more. So it goes just like on and on and on, right? So you know those behaviors. So you collect those behaviors, and then you can categorize those behaviors, rank 1, rank 2, rank 3, and rank 4, and rank 5. So 5 categories you have, and then that is a behavior analysis. So you analyze the behaviors based on if this behavior is a learned behavior. Learned behavior. It's most of children is more like a maturity based, and then more permissive and protective, and then somehow consistent, but more permissive and protective, nurturing environment, or just school teachers, classrooms, and then children just can learn those behaviors. So they may know and conscious about it, but mostly they just like a young child display those behaviors, just like a fussy, whine, and they just show tantrums. It's not loud tantrums, usually just toddlers and preschoolers. And then some of our school children, in especially elementary school, they are in that still maturity wide, still preschool age, and then they could show those behaviors. Usually those behaviors, parents may just listen to them. And then rank 2 behavior is a conscious behavior, intentional behavior, purposeful behavior. So they have a purpose. So they know what they are doing. So it's not really academic related behaviors. It's just, they knew if they do this. So let's say the children use behaviors as more their communication tools. So it's not because their verbal skill and linguistic communication is weak or they could not do it. Even though they can speak, they can communicate. However, they know they do this and that behavior, and then their mom and dad or teachers listen to them. So that's a conscious behavior. So it's a learned next level of learned behavior. So these instant learned behavior is repeatedly they adopt, and then it become conscious behavior and intentional behavior. So many children, may show they don't want to do work, and they could show those behaviors. And then third one is off-task behavior. It's stemming from their academic deficiencies. So it's not competent academic skills. And then, as I said, when they are not following, they cannot follow teachers' instructions, and then their academic level is under instructional level. And then children shows this behavior because they cannot stand those boredom. And then they just walk around and then disrupt the class. So this is more like a habitual behavior because once they started the kindergarten and first grade is early literacy. So pretty much children may show this behavior. It's a second semester of first grade they could not learn, and then by that time, pretty much children, about to learn oral reading. It's not fluency. However, still they can decode and they can pronounce and those words. And by the end of, first grade, I believe just, fluency is like a 55 to 60 words per minute. So that, because the teachers already to move on to the, based on some of, instructions, based on their reading skills. However, by that time, they just did not master reading, and then pretty much, instructional time is kind of a boring time. And because everybody's quiet and they cannot play with their peers and cannot talk with the peers. So pretty much they have nothing. And then they try to make, boards, and they just make some sound. And then, the teacher saw, she said just no, just quiet. And so it's really boring. So anyway, that's disruptive behavior. And then these level of behaviors pretty much by their academic deficiencies. Most of disruptive behavior, off-tasking behavior I mentioned, previously. And then fourth one is compensating behavior. It is aggressive and violent, defiant, those behavior. So when they're disruptive, those academic, it's always academic is a matter, right? Because school is for learning, and then children, it's academic skill is behind, and then they don't have much to do. And then most of the time they come to school, and then pretty much all they do is disruptive behavior. It's very annoying teachers. And then this disruptive behavior, the teachers deal with it, and then compensating behavior is the next one. Very violently, they just respond to the teacher, and then teachers just call the office and remove the student to school office, and then they miss the instructional time. And so those are just like it's just a ritual things every day. Every day, those routines, they just repeat and repeat. So most of these behaviors, children, it still goes with their personal traits, personality traits, and they are just child very prideful, and then it really damages their pride. Most of us children's behavior I read from my students' data, and then I just sometimes have tears. So that means because those young bodies in the classroom, nothing much to do, and then adults, teachers keep saying be quiet, and they don't know how to just endure those times, those academic times, instructional times. It's very hard. And then teacher continuously, to them is a bugging, but to teachers it's very annoying, right? So it is, this level of behavior is pretty much children's frustration and damaged pride and desperation, and they just want to do well, however they can't. So, their behavior is just like a non-compliance and yelling, screaming, and just, and then sometimes they got upset, and then they just even, touch other children. And most of their behaviors toward the teachers, so not many, except, someone just says something and then comment something, except those cases. And children are very, very mean to the teacher. And it's just a tough, almost every day. So, teacher could say they come to school, get in trouble, and children doesn't know, why they have to come to school, and just every day, almost every day, just tell mom, just I don't want to go to school. And then by around the puberty time and teenage time, adolescent age, and then many children just drop out of school. And if it goes continues. And then rank 5, last one is a child, disability related innate, and then many behaviors is a child innate temperament. And again, this disability does not mean just a really assuring disability, but most of atypical behaviors. So it's very takes long. This rank is based on the the severity of behaviors as well, but that is this rank made based on those precursors, what, it impacted the behaviors. So child innate temperament is related to this rank 5, because the child personality is very hard to change, right? They are born with a very like impulsive and hyperactive and just can't stand and just bored, and it's very just many times they are born with so inborn personality, so it takes long. So it's a rank 5. It's not just a severe, it's just more just everything is just related. And then these atypical behaviors like autism and their obsessive interests, it's very hard to change and shape. However, it is possible, but those obsessive interests is just like very compulsively, they just act. So it's like a nanosecond, they move and charge off, and it's like safety issues related. So these 5 behaviors, so what do? These 5 ranks, and then you collect the behaviors. So let's say you have 7 behaviors, you collected and grouped, and then you have it, and then you're gonna do rank analysis. So in these 5, and then you have 7 behaviors in which these behavior belong to here and there. So there are detailed, explanation of the, what kind of things that this behavior is originated and stemming from. So you could see the academic part is a rank 3, and then child, very just defiant and very rough behavior is usually toward the teacher. So it's a very chronic behavior, and then this is a rank 4. So, however, some of our behaviors, it's a cross-categorical. So this rank, and then you can do just both, highlight both the rank. And then you do all these rank, and then later, what do? You finish so all 7 behaviors, just you list the behavior, and here is a 5 rank scales. So you assign, just highlight those rank, you do your best. There is no just 100%, correct. Okay, this is here and this is there, and then some of behaviors you collected the data, it could be very exceptional data, and it's not may belong none of these, and then you could just comment them, and then just you add up those scores. So it's like this behavior is like a throwing behavior. Let's say throwing behavior is just like a rank 2 and then rank 4, for example, and then it is a score is a 6. So that's how you just add up all those sum scores, and then you just write from the lowest score will be first one, and then highest score will be the last one. So that's how you rank, and then when you do behavior shaping, you want to start from the number 1. Okay. However, every single behavior shaping, as I repeatedly said, you have to work on precursors first. Without those precursors, children's behaviors continue. I know, behavior theory, behaviorism says all human behavior is learned, and then behavior is a form of communication. Yes, it is a form of a communication, especially just, intentional behavior, and it has a purpose of doing those displaying behaviors. And then they just children with disabilities, let's say they have just, linguistic verbal communication is not available, and then they use behaviors, and then little babies use behaviors. So all these behaviors, some of our behaviors, it's not only communication purpose. It is a lot of behaviors behind. There are precursors, even though those communication, still that communication means it's a precursors, right? So many behaviors are related to teacher types, mismatched child learning style, and then teacher's teaching style mismatched. And then personality-wise, teacher and students a similar personality, and they're gonna just bond. And so we have all kinds of reasons for the children's behaviors. So only the person observed the child and then collected the data knows about this child. your student. So they know it. So they know, you know, which rank the child belong to, and then you add up, and then must work on their precursors. If they cannot read, they cannot follow the instructions, they have attention issues, they have some sensitivity issues, oversensitivity, and then we have to all shape those. Okay, those are part of behavior. They will go to the part of behavior. So, and then we work on number one, and then this number one is completely mastered, and then number two. So it's number one and number two, and then these two behaviors most completely mastered, and then number three. So 1, 2, 3. It's not one and then you go and then two comes, two go and three comes. It's not that. So you have to scale, each one more, and then one more. It's later on, all 10 behaviors will be on the checklist, and then you move. So most of behaviors, it's like, it's the same thing. You do just a token economy, and let's say just you have a checklist for the tokens, and then you use a token system. Still, you start with one behavior, just one. Okay, let's say, child has a disorganization, just like a very messy, and then always just forget to bring things, and then they are in the locker. However, they just forget. And then the child may have some motor planning issues, and child may have a mild form of dyspraxia, and then they have a motor planning issues, and then they may not, able to get all these one by one, very like a calm mode. And then child has impulsivity. Of course, it will impact their organization skills. So yes, you say child always forget things, and then always just like a one, and then next one, and then next one. So let's say all 5, child is not gonna remember. Okay, so let's say child always forget about 5 things that they have to bring, and then you could do, if a child is okay, and then you could do all those 5 in the list, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and then child check off. It's a one put, check off, and one put, check off. These are all when child agreed to work on it. And then child believes it is issues. So child knows their issues. So a little bit older children, they could go like this. However, younger children, they even don't know, they are messy or not. They just forget, So they don't know these issues. Let's say kindergartners and first graders. So any behaviors always just start with one piece, and then next one, and then next one, and then next one. So it's not just a one, and then, oh, you do well, and then you remove, and then second one, oh, you do well, and then it's not that. Just a one, and then almost you can do well, you don't forget, and then second one. So without doing this check, second one, and then third one. So 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's all we habitualize their behaviors. Any behaviors we habitualize, very, very small steps, very toddler speed, small steps. It's like a toddler walking, not rabbit jumping. So we do, and then their body itself should not be a difficulty. So it's very gradually, slowly, and then we shape their behavior. So that's why we have this rank 1, rank 2, rank 3, 4, 5, and based on that, you just categorize, put the behavior, just give the scores, and then add up those scores. So we see the behavior difficulties, severity and difficulties. So it's like from the number 1 behavior, and then you go just one by. It could take several months. It could take even 1 year. It could take about 3 years. Okay, and then some of our behaviors, so you have to work with the parents. So parents at home, and then you just same method you do together. Okay, so that's the one way we could do. Okay, so I talked about the behavior ranking.